Very good morning to you and welcome to the newspaper review, reaching you live from our studios at High Impact Television. I am Priye Krumale. One of the stories that will not leave the front burner of the polity pretty soon is the hashtag EndSARS protest panel report, of which that of Lagos State has been generating lots of tantrums. The Lagos State hashtag EndSARS report that came up let's say almost 2 weeks ago, indicted the Nigerian military and the Nigerian police force and tagged it as a massacre, given to the fact that about 9 people died at Lekki Tollgate on the 20th of 2020, which is October 2020. And now, since the indictment and the report came out, there's been this forth and back. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, came up and said because the report was leaked to the public, it didn't go through the right procedure before it came to the public for that lots of discrepancies in there, and that it tagged it as something similar to a 1990 fictitious story being told to children, Tales by Moonlight. Therefore, he said that that report cannot be taken seriously. The Minister of State for Labor, Employment and Productivity, Festus Keyamo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, came up yesterday or 2 days ago to say that the Lagos State hashtag EndSARS panel report does not have the jurisdiction or the constitutional competence. Of course, he said he was making his personal statement and he's not speaking for the government, does not have the jurisdiction to probe the activities of the Nigerian army and the Nigerian police force. He was citing the exclusive legislative list enshrined in the Constitution of Nigeria and how the Lagos State government does not have the jurisdiction, or the panel does not have the jurisdiction to probe the federal government agencies. Of course, Mr. Ebun Adigborua and other legal practitioners, including Femi Falana, a human rights activist and lawyer, is also out in the public space to debate the issue and to, go against the perspective of Mr. Festus Keyamo and Lai Mohammed. That's particularly what we will be considering this morning. But before we delve into the business of the day, let's quickly go on a break, and when we return, the review continues. Do stay with us. Right now, we're being joined by a legal practitioner, Jide Ologun. He joins us from Lagos via phone call. Good morning, Barrister Jide Ologun, and welcome to the newspaper review.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you for joining us this morning on the review. Now, let's look at what's happening. You are not unaware of the EndSARS report panel that came out in Lagos, and though we're still awaiting the white paper, but there's been this debate about the legality and the jurisdiction of the panel, if it has the wherewithal, according to law, to prosecute the activities of what it seemed as the indictment of the security agencies within the purview of law. What's your perspective? How would you analyze it?
This matter is on the front burner right now, and I believe the concern of the Minister of State, Labor, Festus Keyamo, is the fact that the state panel of inquiry has no jurisdiction to question the military and the police being under the control of the federal government. And that argument may be tenable at the level of making political points, because these panels were established to respond to some major national concerns, talking about allegations of extrajudicial killings, extortion, brutality by the police, and which prompted the protest. And I believe that what is making it so prominent is what happened on the 20th of October 2020. The incidents at Lekki Tollgate in Lagos, where allegedly many peaceful Nigerians singing the national anthem, waving the Nigerian flags, defenseless, were met with brutal force, shootings with live bullets, even though deniers came that they were blank bullets at the time. It was like they were never there, but there were recordings. The CNN reported, the journalists, those who were on ground. And that became a very bad crisis for the government to manage. But the report in reference now that came out from the Lagos State Judicial Panel of Inquiry has described what happened at the toll gate as a massacre. And that's a serious matter. The International Criminal Court is interested, the United Nations, the EU, different global stakeholders, which may have repercussions in the future. So I think these are just attempts to try and water down the import of that report. And don't forget also that Chief Lai Mohammed, the Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, also described that report as tales by moonlight. But recordedly too, the report came out as a product of a whole year sitting where stakeholders were invited to give evidence, to present their cases. And it's also on record that Lagos State has compensated up to, I think, about 400 million naira. So if we are compensating for what? Well, let's now draw a clearer picture. These panels were set up across the country, not just Lagos State, to review and make recommendations on the agitations prompted by the NSAS concerns. And interestingly, one of them was improved welfare for the police, amongst others, and that those who have been found culpable in police brutality, that justice should be delivered. About 5 major points. And the incidents of the 20th of October became part of the terms of reference for Lagos State in particular. I mean, it didn't happen in Kaduna State, it didn't happen in Adamawa State. And that report is now that reflected what happened in the Lekki toll gate. Is now the concern for the government. And literally speaking, if you understand the African governance system, you should expect some frantic attempt to defend that position and launder the image of the government.
Okay, now let's look.
How far we can go with that now, we don't know.
Okay, let's.
But also,
Barrister Jide,
legal luminaries have responded.
Okay.
That the setting up of the panels of inquiry, they are legal. And of course, they can invite people for questioning. And this is also a punctuation on the call for true reform in the country that is called restructuring. If we have been able to establish state police, then states can control the activities of police within their region. Instead of having the federal government to be the one that will give directives. As we speak now, which of course is sacrosanct. The military and the police are under the direct jurisdiction of the federal government. But if you go to the Constitution...
I have to come in here. I'm have to come in here. Now, you said it is sacrosanct concerning the control of which Mr. Festus Keyamo equally cited yesterday, looking at the exclusive legislative list, control. But you said the governments of the state equally have some level of control over the police and the army will come to such the states to carry out some of the activities. If you look at the control level in that aspect, there could be other statements that who was responsible for the control of the deployment of the security agencies to the particular sport where issues of human rights violation has come up.
Brilliant question. You know, I was actually coming to that.
Okay.
Let's even assume that the military and the police are on the exclusive legislative list and they are not answerable administratively to the state governors. But they came to carry out activities that are questionable within the sovereignty of the state. So should they not be invited to give accounts? Because accountability is a very strong requirement in good governance. And by the way, this is democracy. And if you think they should not come and give evidence or whatever, if the statements of the victims and the witnesses indict them, what the report of the Lagos State Panel of Inquiry came out with are recommendations and findings. And one of them is that, okay, we have found out that there were breaches of rights at the Lekki toll gate on social days, that the president should give public apology on it. Then there should be appropriate compensation, and the key players culpable, they should be disciplined and be subject to justice. These are recommendations. And don't forget that even the president of the nation, in responding to the global community, said, we are still expecting reports from other states. And apart from that, the Lagos State government is still to come out with the white paper. And when you talk about white paper, it is the summary, the relevant summary of the issues discussed during the panel sittings. And the white paper has its foundation in French, in the French culture of governance in the 16th century. Where you find a paper that is branded as white, it means this can be released to the public.
Okay.
But in this case now, the generality, to put it that way, of the findings got released to the public before the white paper.
All right.
But that also does not prevent the white paper. So the white paper is not likely to delist some of the critical findings and recommendations in the general report. So in public relations, this is a very tough thing to mop up by the federal government, because the simple questions are, to the wise mind, was there an incident on the 20th of October at the Lekki toll gate, as that appears to be the main issue now?
All right.
And the answer uncontrovertedly is yes. Were there shootings? The answer is yes. The people, even the governor of Lagos State in one of his media engagements, confirmed that people died. CNN has given reports, witnesses. So can you qualify that as human rights infractions? And when you come to the term massacre that featured in that report, massacre by definition is when you use brutal force against defenseless people. Can you also claim that that happened that night?
Okay.
So there are issues.
Okay.
And for some of us,
okay,
we need to go beyond all these dramas and let justice prevail in the country.
all right.
Let's have a society that is truly civil. Let us minimize the use of public office brutally. If you look at Section 15 of Section 5 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, it says that the state shall abolish corruption and abuse of office. You see, by the way,
Okay.
if you look at the vision and the mission of the police, it is to help in creating an enabling environment for economic development. And one of the jingles of the police is that we are your friends. You see, so no office should be abused.
Okay, Barrister Jide.
Under the doctrine of good governance.
Okay, Barrister Jide, let me come in here.
But we have come and there were evidences, there were confessions. You want to talk about the case of Anambra State?
Barrister Jide.
But the president said so that he is waiting for the other reports.
Okay.
And what I would have expected, Chief Lai Mohammed, who is a veteran in public relations, whom I respect so much, and my learned silk, Honorable
Keyamo?
Festus Keyamo's son, was to help the government by saying, okay, these reports are out, we look into it, then we try and respond. Rather than coming down openly to say it's still by moonlight.
Okay.
You need to look at the caliber of those who sat
Okay, Barrister,
during
Barrister
the
Jude,
panel.
Barrister Jude, let me
If the
come
governor
in here.
didn't trust them,
Excuse me, Barrister
he
Jude.
would not have put them together.
Yes.